Ladies, gentlemen, fellow Kryptonians out there, welcome to a brand new Superman Legacy video. Now, I was going to make a news roundup today because there's other things that I want to talk about out there, but I have found myself wanting to talk about just a few things specifically to Superman Legacy. So in this video, we're going to go over some tidbits, some little bits here and there that I think you guys will find interesting. Then we're going to get into a leak, which I think I would absolutely love to come to fruition in this movie, to the point of where I really do think, combined with my reverse Kingdom Come theory, this could actually low-key be happening, or something like it. We're going to get into the suit again, some surprising new revelations, I guess you could say, Superman Legacy's budget, and all kinds of things, guys. If you're hyped for Superman Legacy, strap yourselves in. Let's get into this. Right off the bat, we need to talk about what we found out yesterday. I was just listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor on Smallville. He runs that podcast. I recommend everyone listen to it. It's absolutely fantastic. And in the latest episode, he said at the beginning, and I visibly went, okay. And that is that he announced this.
We have some great ones coming up. Nicholas Hoult, who's going to be the new Lex Luthor, so you get to hear us talk, and that's going to be happening very soon.
So go check out that episode of Joel McHale for yourself. I've listened to all of it. Again, I really highly recommend this podcast. Now, I do want to say, I keep saying this a lot recently, do temper your expectations. I don't think Nicholas Hoult per se is going to get into how he's going to play Lex Luthor exactly, what the script is like. I, of course, do expect some banter between them both, considering that, hey, you have Lex Luthor speaking to Lex Luthor here. But you never know. We may get a tidbit here and there. Maybe Nicholas Hoult's going to speak a little bit about the audition process. Maybe we'll get some more clarity in terms of if he did indeed test out for both Lex and Clark, or who was it originally? Like, what's the truth of that situation? How close was he? I don't know. I don't expect to get loads and loads of details. They're probably going to talk about all other kinds of things, mental health, because that's a big part of this podcast. The industry, just maybe Rosenbaum's experience on Lex, and, what Lex is going to be maybe like in Superman Legacy a little bit. But in my opinion, that would be the absolute limit of what we would get if he even dared speak about that. Any information that comes out of that, I will be mentioning it in a news roundup, or if there's a lot of information, of course, just like the James Gunn podcast that he did on Inside of You, I do recommend checking that out. But in that case, I made a whole separate video because James Gunn literally spat so much out there with regards to the DCU. And I'll leave that in the cards of this video just in case you haven't seen it. I uploaded it quite a while ago. Now, in other news with regards to James Gunn, shout out to DCU Updates here, because he noticed something a few days ago where, if you didn't know already, which I think you should, a lot of people this week are maybe expecting, I'm just saying, I don't know if we will get it. I really don't want to get your hopes up, but because it's Superman's birthday, February 29th, we could get the suit reveal. This is all coming back off of, long story short, there was the table read for Superman Legacy. We had 3 cast members upload their name cards that were on the table with the Kingdom Come Superman logo in the corner. Those posts were deleted. You wouldn't delete those posts just based off the name of the actors and the characters they're playing, because that's already very public information. Nothing to worry about whatsoever. And so maybe it could very well have been the symbol that we're going to get on the Superman suit. And one of the leaks that was mentioned 5 days prior to those name cards being revealed and then deleted confirmed, well, didn't confirm, but they said 5 days in advance that it would be the Kingdom Come symbol, but not with the black and red, but with the red and yellow. And DC Updates here said it's been in front of us the whole time. He also teased the Kingdom Come symbol here, but in red and yellow, kind of lining up to that leak, if you will, that we heard about the other day. More on that in just a second as well. But yeah, this was over on Blue Sky quite a long time ago now, April 23rd, 2023. And I know a lot of us have speculated, could it be like a Kingdom Come-esque suit, given, again, it's not exactly new speculation that this movie, Superman Legacy, could be taking Kingdom Come influences. Again, hence the whole reverse Kingdom Come theory. As a result, people naturally thought, are we going to get a black and red, maybe Kingdom Come symbol? But again, recently with the name cards, and then the leak 5 days prior to that saying, well, it is the Kingdom Come symbol, but in red and yellow. And then James Gunn actually mentioned this a year ago and posted about it well in advance. It does feel like everything is adding up. I think at this point, guys, I would say that I'd be pretty damn surprised if this legitimately like wasn't the symbol. I think it will be this, but that's just something I wanted to put out there. It could have been staring us in the face the whole time, on top of all the other Kingdom Come teasers that we've got from James Gunn, and there's a lot of them, kind of like a stack of paper at this point. But I also want to talk about that leak that I mentioned, in where that user said it would be the Kingdom Come symbol 4 or 5 days before the name cards were revealed by the cast members at the table read, because I neglected to mention that there was another leak from this user with regards to Superman Legacy about Lex Luthor. Now, I do want to give people the opportunity to skip to the next timestamp, just in case you don't want to know anything. I don't know if this leak is true, but I just wanted to put it out there that it might be. I mean, after all, this guy said down to the T that the Superman symbol would be the Kingdom Come symbol, just in red and yellow and not black and red. So if that does turn out to be true when we get the suit reveal, maybe this guy did very well know something, which as a result could make what I'm about to talk about with Luthor possibly true as well. So I wouldn't say it's like a major spoiler, but it definitely gets my brain ticking about what could be going on. So I'm about to talk about it. Skip to the next timestamp. You have 3, 2, 1. All right. So in addition to the post they made about the Kingdom Come symbol that you're seeing on screen, they also said this, and I want to just let you guys know that this burner account on Reddit has been deleted. I don't think it's been deleted by a mod. It's like they posted it, deleted their account afterwards. So that's already interesting. But this other thing, if true, could be super interesting. And I've already got a little bit of a theory cooking in my head. And I want to emphasize the word theory there. So they say there will be Lexcorp troopers in futuristic looking purple and green suits. The helmet has 4 eye lenses. I haven't seen any scooper post this info. Now again, take this with a grain of salt. It might be complete BS, but I've already given you the context behind this user. But let's hypothetically assume this is true just for the sake of the video, for the sake of argument here. So Superman Legacy, as we know, has got various comic book influences on it. We have All-Star Superman, but another one that has been mentioned from Gunn is Superman for All Seasons. Now, this is where in that very story, you actually have these guardians of the city, or these kind of Lexcorp troopers, if you will, that are somewhat, I guess you could say, fitting the description of what this user says here. Futuristic purple and green suits, 4 eye lenses, right? Now, I don't think they would look exactly as they do from Superman for All Seasons. I mean, I believe DC Universe Online actually has Lexcorp troopers as well, which basically have a very similar design, but they're a little bit trimmed down, so to speak. So I can imagine, adapt it to more of a modern, low-key version and less anti-monitor looking version of these Guardians of the City. Now, another thing I always say is that Superman Legacy is not going to copy and paste from any particular comic book per se. It's always influences, innovating on maybe some of the plot lines there. Maybe a design from Kingdom Come, maybe the situation of Kingdom Come, as I've gone on about all the time with my reverse Kingdom Come theory, with a bunch of wannabe heroes, anti-heroes out there. But at the same time, it's not like Superman's got to retire and, he's only just coming about, really, or has been active for a couple of years in this story. Lois Lane isn't going to die. You get my point. You adapt some things, you're influenced by it, but you don't copy and paste. Now, I do think Lex Troopers here, if we assume this is true for the sake of just speculation here, could actually be a thing, because we're wondering about what this plot could involve, right? And if this user is right, as he may well be right or have been right about the Superman suit logo that we're getting in Superman Legacy, I can imagine these Lex Troopers or Guardians of the City actually safeguarding Metropolis or the Kingdom Come climate in the world. And again, what I mean by that is one of the influences from Kingdom Come that James Gunn may inject into Superman Legacy, especially as he says this is a world in where heroes exist and have existed, and a world that views kindness as old-fashioned and all of these other things. Maybe there's going to be a bunch of heroes out there, some doing better than others, but some doing more harm than good, with their kind of the boys-like mentality of, okay, I want to help, but I'm more anti-hero. I will achieve this by any means necessary. That's kind of what things are like in the futuristic timeline of the Kingdom Come storyline. It's just now it's going to be brought into present day, and Superman Legacy will be about David Corenswet's Clark bringing bringing a new precedent of what it means to be a hero, how to handle things properly as a hero, and inspiring and leaving a legacy for all other heroes to follow, right? But one person who might already be trying to do that, and I think it with Lex's ego and whatnot, and this could be one of the reasons why he absolutely hates Superman, is because he wants to safeguard Metropolis, but with his guardians of the city. And that's actually something that he does in Superman for All Seasons. And to be honest, I can really see James Gunn bringing that take out with Lex Luthor, which is very relevant because, yes, don't get me wrong, Lex can be very, very bad, but often he is so driven, yes, often by a power trip, to just prove to everyone that he is greater than the Superman. He doesn't have to be a freaking Kryptonian. He can heal or help heal the world and save the world through his own mortal hands. And sometimes it's just with Lex, he's so desperate to do anything by any means necessary to prove that Superman, it's just, he looks at that guy like, oh, isn't it easy to just be this god, and all of this stuff. Like, this is where all of it starts getting a bit twisted. He just wants people to notice him for him and all the good that he can do. Now, that's quite a simplified version of it, but one way he can do that, and one way that might rub him the wrong way with Superman here, is that he's got his Guardians of the City out there, his Lexcorp troopers, if you will, as seen in For All Seasons. And as it's actually narrated in the comic here, Lexcorp's latest attempt to move the spotlight off Superman, but it's typical Luthor. Send in the drones, no personality, no independence, just do the job and let Lexcorp take the credit. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. What if he does have, troopers out there like this in a world in where there's all kinds of heroes that are unregulated? Maybe the government's trying to regulate it. Maybe Lexcorp is somewhat kind of fanning the flames of the somewhat social commentary going on with heroes out there. Maybe some people don't like heroes. Maybe some people feel like they've gotten out of control, which could be very true. Maybe there's a bunch of collateral damage going on, and this is Lexcorp's answer to that. Now, there's a Superman, David Corenswet, who also wants to change things, but do you see what I mean here? This is where I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I see this vision so clearly in how this would be a pretty badass thing, and obviously it could also annoy Lex Luthor with how there's this new hero who is unregulated and who is, I guess, maybe even showing up his own Guardians of the City. And there's actually a moment like that in the comic as well, and where there's this woman who almost died because of the Guardians of the City's carelessness. There was this building on fire. She was about to burn and die because I guess they thought they did their job, but Superman used his X-ray vision and he was just like, get out of here, you're getting in my way, freaking Guardians of the City. And he flew in there and he saved her, but they obviously didn't have Superman's capabilities. Now that's another thing in where I guess Nicholas Hoult Lex Luthor, as if they did a scene like that from the comic book, would be shown up. There would be the commentary from the Guardians of the City as seen in the comic book where they say Lexcorp has the situation under control, Superman, and he's just like, bruh, please. And maybe for we know, these Guardians of the City are massively popular, and maybe Superman getting in the way as this somewhat new-ish hero, because again, it's not an origin, but he's not a veteran by any means. Maybe that causes somewhat this kind of public debate about Superman versus Luthor or Lexcorp's Guardians of the City. I don't know, but I do think ideas like this are the right direction with what James Gunn is trying to capture with Superman Legacy, if you know what I mean. And I would personally love that. Now, again, I love the comic book design of these Guardians of the City, these Lexcorp troopers. However, I do think that when being brought to screen, they probably wouldn't look like this. But I can imagine with us hitting the ground running in this DC universe, we're already a few years in. Heroes have been about for decades, guys. Metahumans, villains, you name it. I do think the government, the world, the powers that be, and maybe even private powers like Lexcorp and whatnot, would have asserted their own control and safety with regards to cities. And Lex Luthor, also wanting to be admired and loved and help mold the world in his own way, would definitely, I can really believe that this younger Luthor, Nicholas Hoult Luthor, will have ambitions like that. And now there's this Superman coming along, getting more and more and more and more and more popular. It will add nothing but a developing disdain for this character. And if they include freaking Guardians of the City, I would love that. Absolutely love that. So let me know what you think of that. I know I went on a bit of a ramble, but I kind of wanted to dive into a bit of Superman for All Seasons so you can kind of really get a picture of that, combining it with my reverse Kingdom Come theory, and just also some things that I think are a given anyway, especially with the climate of this DC universe we're already entering with hitting the ground running, if you know what I mean. Now, quickly with regards to Superman Legacy's budget, James Gunn said over on Threads when this user asked him, "Hey James, this article says your Superman budget," and oh my god, this kind of gives me flashbacks to Gladiator 2, is $364 million. True or false? And thank God. I mean, I didn't really think that would be the case anyway, but he says, absolutely not, laughing face. How in the world do they think they know what our budget is? I mean, well, maybe because, things do leak out there, and maybe that's one of the more easier details that could arguably be leaked, but maybe right now, before you've really kind of gone over everything, that wouldn't be out there. But enough of that talk for a second. Yeah, it kind of made me think about Superman Legacy's budget, and a lot of people ask me about that, because I do have the opinion that Hollywood needs to learn, and I've said this so many times, that more budget doesn't mean more success. It just doesn't. It just really, really doesn't. Now, with that being said, let's not kid ourselves. A superhero movie does have to have a reasonably decent budget, because Superman Legacy, and what I mean by that, isn't going to be Joker. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to have barely any CG in it. As a result, it's not going to be like a $60 to $70 million budget, which then garners over $1 billion in the box office. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be more than 60 to 70 million. I think we can all agree with that. However, does it need to be like freaking Gladiator 2 budget, which is apparently like 20 million, which is just, wait, what? Like, that's apparently the latest report. So how do you do a sequel to Russell Crowe's Gladiator? And then it just, I get that you've got like quite a few stars in there, but I don't know. But anyway, that's, still not a superhero movie. So I don't think, so this is the thing. If you're kicking off the DC Universe, I'm really trying to be as objective as I can here. I understand that you want to wow, right? But you also don't want to, I think, pour so much money in there to the point of, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Do you even want to go to the Flash's $200 to $220 million? Maybe not. This is why I think somewhere in the ballpark of $160 to $180 million would be, I think, where it's going to be. Now, I could be wrong about that, of course. I really don't know at the end of the day, because, I'm trying to factor in, this is a superhero movie. They want to slap hard with Superman Legacy, but you don't want to put so much money into it where, again, if it's $250 million, then my God, the amount of money you need to make well over double and then some in the box office to even start seeing sense of profit, which is just, again, do you really want to give yourself that risk when, what if it only earns $600 something million? So I think, the ballpark of 160 to 180 or something like that, I would be happy if it kept under 200 million, because then, yes, it's going to have CGI in it. That's why you've still got 160 to 180 million dollar budget. You've got a cast where I don't think you're having to pay them like $20 million like Joaquin Phoenix or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of it can be put onto VFX and other resources and whatnot. But I'm really not trying to pretend to be a know-it-all here. Like, who knows what they're really going to try and achieve with this Superman Legacy. I mean, Gunn's already said on Rosenbaum's podcast, with what I referred to earlier, that they're achieving an aesthetic in cinema, so like Metropolis and everything, that's never been seen before. Will that require a huge chunk of the budget? I don't know. So I'm just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if it was somehow teetering to the levels of 200 million, but I would be very, very happy if I read that it was like somewhere north of 150, capping off at 180. I just wouldn't be surprised. If it was somewhere like 130 something million, like Shazam 2's budget, I'd be very surprised. I'd be like, wow, they're really trying to pull off the first wow factor movie in the DCU with quite a low budget. So that's why I don't expect to that end. I expect a little bit more, but I don't want them to go overboard. I think that they can do it for a little bit cheaper. But then again, I want to add in the just in case of, well, this is their first DCU movie, so maybe they do want to kind of pour a little bit more into it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But that's everything from this video, guys. Again, I've got some other tidbits and stories that I want to talk about, but I'm sure I'll be coming up or coming out with a new news roundup video in no time. You know how we do here on the channel. I can talk about lots of different things for a very long time. But I hope you guys just enjoyed this nerd out about Superman Legacy. Let me know any and all thoughts with regards to everything we discussed in this video. What do you hope Nicholas Hoult realistically talks about in his interview with Michael Rosenbaum? Again, Again, be realistic with your speculation there. Then let me know what you think about the suit. Let me know what you think about that leak and the plot theory I had there, and then things like the budget. But if you enjoyed this video, would really appreciate you letting YouTube know that you're enjoying this channel. Help me out in the algorithm by leaving a like, consider subscribing, and maybe turning those notifications on. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you fellow Kryptonians in the next video. Goodbye.